Hello and welcome to Americans Talk Australian Survivor. I'm Rachel.
I'm Leah.
And I'm Matt.
Thanks for joining us. We just watched episode 20 of Australian Survivor Titans vs. Rebels, and there will be spoilers ahead. We open up on day 40, quite a far way through the game, and we see Kirby thinking about what happened last night. When Alex went home, he really threw Kirby under the bus, telling everyone that they had to get her out. And now she feels that she is not in a great position in the game.
Yeah, she has a target on her back.
Yeah, she's very worried, as she should be.
She is worried about how this will affect Rihanna's game, which I thought was kind of interesting because she said she's worried about herself and she's worried about Rhi. And we're kind of at that point in the game where you start to think about flipping on your number one, or at least, getting them before they get you. So it's interesting that she's so focused on that.
Right, concerned about her friend, yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting because Alex did exactly what he wanted to do. Here it is the next day, and Kirby is paranoid, right?
Good for him.
And everyone else is thinking about their game. So he did what he wanted to achieve.
He rattled them.
Yes.
So Kirby says that she wants to get Mark out next. She goes up to Caroline and asks what Caroline thinks they should do, and Caroline says that she wants Mark on as well. And Kirby and Caroline are discussing an all-women Final Four. What do you guys think about this?
Well, they kind of discussed it yesterday also, and I guess they're just saying yes again. Let's do this.
And sure, Mark seems like a good vote to get out. Why not,
Yeah, so he had been working with Caroline for a long time. He had been targeting Caroline back when it was the tribe swap. So now it seems like a good option for Caroline to go after Mark before he gets her.
I just think it's interesting that Kitty, Mark, and Caroline are still here. They were very strong players at the other tribe, and here they are. They're still here with the rebels.
Right.
And they've been going after each other for so long.
Yes.
They've been able to work together until this point. That's
Yeah,
pretty
you're
impressive.
right. The three of them have been after each other, and they're still together. I mean, still there. So Mark and Caroline have never been able to achieve their goal of getting each other out.
Yeah. So we'll see if she's able to do it tonight.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting when Ferris and Kirby were on the beach, and Kirby was saying that she wants to play against the best players. She doesn't want it to come down to an easy person at the end if she's going to be one of the final two.
Yeah, so for her final three, she's looking at Ferris, Kitty, and herself. And Kirby thinks that if she beats the best, she'll be the best. So an interesting take.
It's interesting she didn't say Rihanna.
I think she knows that she could fairly easily beat Rihanna because all of the ideas are always coming from Kirby. So she wants to go against the biggest threats, which it would be Ferris and Kitty.
Rihanna's amazing at challenges, individual challenges.
Well, that's interesting. I don't know about Kitty. Kitty's very good physically, but I think Caroline's a bigger threat than Kitty.
Yeah, I guess I would see Caroline as more of a strategic threat as well.
Right.
Right.
So I'm surprised, I guess, that she put Kitty down as her top three.
Yeah, I would think the top three would be Kirby, Caroline, and Ferris.
Right.
In my mind. So I don't know. But I thought it was funny because Ferris says, well, I can't have you gone yet. I mean, he was very truthful, I guess.
Yeah, but I think it's exciting that Kirby wants to go to the end with big players because so many times we see people want to go against the people they're most easily going to beat. And that's not that exciting to watch.
Right.
It's better
Sure.
TV, and it's better for your game and your reputation after the game to say that you've beat the best players. And why not? If you think you can do it, go up against the best to prove it.
Oh, I think it'd be fantastic if those three were the last three standing. I would absolutely love it. Absolutely love it.
It's interesting how these two keep talking to each other.
Ferris and
Yeah. And
Kirby?
Yeah. It's interesting because they're obviously the two leaders, the two most powerful people, the two that are really playing the game. And it's interesting how they keep talking to each other.
Well, Kirby had said, previously that he's like a big brother. You love him and you hate him, right? So there's obviously some kind of connection there that they are, good friends. I think they really do admire each other.
And they're always talking about being shields for one another. And I think that's huge in this game because right now we have Kirby and Ferris. And, it's like, oh, let's take out this person to weaken them or something like that. But once one of them is gone, the second will probably be close to follow because it'll just be a blatant target on their back.
Oh, I agree.
Right.
I think you're right.
They're known as the
Because-
two biggest players.
No one's going to want to go up against them
Yeah.
if they're sort of outnumbered.
So yeah, I think it's good that they're working together, but it's kind of funny how they're keeping each other at arm's length, saying that, we'll probably go after each other and stuff like that. So they know that they're not each other's number ones, but it's nice that they're able to keep up a pleasant relationship.
Well, Ferris seemed to be surprised that Kirby said she would want to take him to the end. And he said, that would be amazing.
Yeah, so Ferris is probably excited anyway to get to the end, right? If someone says they want to take you to the final three, of course you're going to kind of be interested in hearing a little bit more about that. But then he kind of pretty quickly changes his tune. He says that Kirby's scared and this is the time to get her out.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
He also then has really great perception. So Ferris says that Kirby approached him about being in a final three together. But he said that he knows Kirby so well that she would want an all-women's female empowerment final four. So he approaches Caroline to kind of test out this idea.
And it worked.
And yeah, it was crazy. So he goes to Caroline and says, I heard Kirby's been pitching to this all-women final four, but he's been pitching to me. Let's get you out. And Caroline's like, oh my gosh, she has been pitching that. I can't believe she would lie to us.
So what if that had backfired?
That would have been embarrassing for parents, but it's crazy how well he's able to get to know the players and know exactly what they're thinking.
He has done this over and over and over again, right? He really knows how to read people in the room. He
Right.
seems to really figure everything out.
Yeah, and normally we're seeing him picking up on who's talking to each other, who might be going home, but this is one step further to predict their future alliance and what they're pitching to other players.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable that he was able to see that coming and call it and plant the seeds of doubt in Caroline's mind.
So Ferris, how do you do this? Let us know. It's
Yeah.
just incredible how you do this.
So it's very interesting that was successful. And then we see Ferris and Mark saying that they're going to go for Kirby or Rihanna, basically whoever doesn't have the necklace. And Kirby is able to pick up on all of these chats going on around them. So she and Ferris are both really good at picking up on what's happening because she's saying, why are Ferris and Mark talking? Why is Ferris talking to Caroline? So she's seeing that something's happening without her knowing.
And then she speaks with Caroline. She tells the camera, I know she's lying because of the pitch of her voice.
Right.
So yes, Kirby is excellent also at picking up things.
Yeah, so very interesting that everyone's able to detect each other's lies and plans, and a great cast.
Could it be that Kirby's a coach and she understands?
Oh.
She works with people, and so she needs to be able to know whether someone's going to be able to follow through with what they say or what the direction they're given as a coach.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's probably a very big advantage.
Right.
I think we talked about that before. Big advantage for her.
And it certainly doesn't hurt that they've been together for 40 days, so you really know someone.
That's a long time. Yeah. But I love the next thing. It's 3 a.m. and Kirby can't sleep. And she talks about how much she loves the game. And then who does she tap on the shoulder to wake up?
Yeah, so she wakes up Ferris. It's 3 a.m. She says, get up, we have to talk. So it would be startling to be woken up in the middle of your sleep to go have a strategic chat. But that's the game, and Kirby's playing. So it is fun to see her say that she's really grown to love the game even more than she thought she would, and she really, really wants to win. So I think a lot of times you could expect that by this point in the game, you might be getting tired. You're kind of not as interested in the gameplay. You just want to get home. And Kirby is the opposite. She's getting more and more excited about the game with every passing episode. So that's awesome.
And Ferris says to her, if you want to get the heat off your back, you're going to have to vote for Rihanna. And she said she would.
Yeah, so this is basically Kirby's plan that she came up with in the middle of the night, is that she says she will give up Rihanna if Ferris takes her to the Final Four. So she's willing to vote out her number one in the game as long as it gets her to the Final Four.
She didn't say she'd do it right away, though.
No, just in general, she was
Right.
interested in it.
Yeah, I don't know if I could believe her, but
But it's good that she's thinking like that because she's had a more rebellious, villainous streak throughout the game, and she needs to kind of cut ties with her number one, I think, in order to make it farther in the game. I don't know if this is the time to do it, but she's willing to put her own game first. I think we've seen a lot of people, like even Kelly, basically sacrificing herself for Raymond. It's so easy to end up being the vote if you're stuck on your number one not going home, and you've got to be selfish to make it to the final three.
All right, so then we go to the challenge. It's a dominoes challenge.
So on this challenge, you have to hold on to a heavy weight and stack your blocks so that they can be knocked down like dominoes. But it's interesting because as you're walking, the giant weight is moving above your dominoes. So it looks really difficult to be able to balance the hand weight with the movement.
It looks like if you had long arms, it's to your advantage. If everybody's was exactly the same.
Yeah.
They didn't say that they were specifically designed for people. So the weight is heavier for some people than it is for other people. And then the length of your arm or how far you can reach, because it looked like it was almost impossible to reach
some
extra blocks without knocking down your dominoes and starting over.
But they must have figured it out prior to the challenge. I think it's interesting because Jonathan says to Kirby, Alex really put you in the spotlight. And Kirby says, I need this one. I mean, she really believes she needs to win this immunity challenge or else she's gone.
And I think I agree with her. It was looking not too great for her back at camp prior to this immunity challenge.
But this is an exciting challenge, right? It looks like Kirby has 2 tries and it didn't make it. When you're like, I mean, there she is. She's the first one, like, oh, and she didn't make it. Like, oh my gosh, right?
And Raymond was
Raymond.
Right there at the end, he had a great stack.
He did, and he was going to do it, but he went both ends. His weight hit the bottom. Ah!
Yes.
And then
disappointing.
Kirby went for the 3rd try, and she won it. Is that amazing or what? I mean, Kitty was right behind her, but it was amazing.
Right.
3 times, and Kirby did it. And Rihanna was there, too.
Right.
So a lot of players were getting really far and getting close. And when Kirby tried the first time, we were disappointed. And then she tried the second time, and it went all the way to the last block. And it was just the last block that didn't fall in. And we thought, there's no way she's going to recover. Someone has to have caught up by now. But then she went for the 3rd time. So congratulations, Kirby. When she puts her mind to something, she can do it. We saw it a few weeks ago when she said she was going to get the necklace. She got it.
Yes, I found this very exciting. Very exciting. And it was interesting. Caroline, unfortunately, was not doing as well. And Ferris, either. He wasn't.
No, he was having a very difficult time.
Yes, figuring out with the weight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then after go ahead, Rachel.
It's like a little mental component to it as well.
Right. And then afterwards, Kirby is very emotional.
Oh, yeah, that was interesting.
Had to step away.
Right.
And
for a long time, it looked like.
There was nothing said about that. Nobody made any comments or anything. They just went to commercial.
It was weird that no one walked up to her and gave her a hug or said any encouraging words. But it obviously meant a lot to her to be able to win this immunity necklace today, and she needed it, and she could feel it, especially after Alex's proclamations last night. So congratulations, Kirby.
Yes.
So back at camp, there's these whispers going on that it's all on Rihanna, and then Kirby thinks that it should all be on Mark. So Kirby and Ferris go off for a chat, and Kirby says, well, we had talked about getting Ree, but Ree and Ray both haven't done much. So Kirby and Rihanna have basically voted together the entire time, and Ferris and Raymond have voted together the entire time. So she's saying, why knock out one of our little shields, basically?
Right, if they vote out Ree, then they're going to go after me, then they're going to go after you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she's saying if we keep Rihanna and Raymond, they're protection to get to the bigger players, Kirby and Ferris.
And then Ferris Kirby's backtracking.
And which it did seem like she was backing out of her 3 a.m. declaration that she would go after Rihanna.
Well, it is like that. In the middle of the night, your mind's racing and you think of everything. And then in the morning, you're like, oh, it's totally different thoughts, right?
After you have the necklace, and then you're like, well, do I need to vote out my number one?
Right,
Probably not. So there's a little bit of tension there. And Kirby is focused on getting everyone to vote for Mark.
Right. And then they see Ree, and she's left alone. Like, everyone's leaving to have their chats, and she's there trying to break a stick or something like that. And she says she knows she's going to get some votes tonight.
Right. She has a target on her back. She knows it.
And what about Kitty tells Rihanna, I'm voting for you. I mean, voting with you. Oh.
Yeah, so we've heard Kirby say it a million times that Kitty is not a good liar. And, she proved it tonight.
Right.
Well, that would be me. I can't lie either. So
Yeah, so that was a bad slip-up that I thought might make Rihanna look for an idol or something, but she seemed pretty calm. Rihanna said that she's just kind of trusting in her relationships and her prior conversations.
I wonder why she doesn't look for an idol.
There's no one searching.
Right. Why aren't they searching for an idol?
I don't know.
That was a fun thing. I think last season people were searching for idols like no one's business. But this season it doesn't seem to be such a big deal.
Right.
I'm not sure why.
But there must be another one out there
Sure.
because people have turned them in. And then the idea is that when they get turned in, they get put back into play.
Right.
Could be two of them out there.
Yeah, no one's looking. So that's a little
That's what
bit
Raymond
weird.
should do.
Yeah, I mean, what else is he up to? So Caroline tells the camera that she's in a tough spot because she does not want to stand next to Rihanna at the final immunity challenge, which makes sense. I wouldn't want to either. We know that Rihanna is great at endurance, and that's probably going to be what the final challenge is. But she's saying that Rihanna is basically a group vote, and she wants to have her own vote and thinks that voting out Mark could be her move that she could put on her resume. What do you guys think? Is Mark really her move?
I don't see that as that big of a move. He doesn't seem to be. I mean, he's hanging on for a long time, but he doesn't seem to be such a controlling person, controlling the whole tribe or anything. You know, like if you can get the person who's the one who's making all the decisions, that seems like a big move. But just voting out.
Yeah, Mark right now isn't. He has been
He's
in the
not a
past
threat.
very
Right.
big strategic player. He seems to really calm down a bit. But I give Caroline a lot of credit because she says, I'm playing my own game. She said she's going to vote for Mark. And she said, it's my game too. I love that she said it's my game too. And that goes for every single player. Whoever people say, oh, they're not as good as me. I mean, I love Kirby and Ferris and Caroline. But I'm not going to take away the other people who are there. It is their game also. So I love that line. So Caroline, that's wonderful. She's owning up to it, and she's not going to let people push her around.
Right. They're all playing to get to the end.
Right.
Right. They're not playing to be voted off fourth.
Seems like Caroline is really taking to heart what Alex said last night, and she's ready to make a move. Although I'm not sure this is as big of a move that she hopes. I feel like Mark, like we said, he's not really a threat. They've kind of been working together, so it would be a big move to throw under the bus an ally. But I think a bigger move would be Kitty. We know that Kitty's already tried to flip on Caroline, so Caroline has to move fast before Kitty comes back. And Kitty's a big physical threat. They're worried about Rihanna winning challenges, but Kitty may as well. So I feel like that would have been a huge move for Caroline to make at this point in the game, to send her number one home to the jury. And that would have been...
I agree with you wholeheartedly. But the only thing is, I worry about Caroline needs Kitty and Mark, really, for voting purposes. Right?
Like
Allies.
for the numbers.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you're right. If she voted out Kitty, everyone would be like, oh my gosh, she voted out Kitty? Really?
That would be a big
yeah.
move.
It would be a big, as Kitty thought that would be a big move for her to vote out Caroline, right?
Yeah, and so you've gotta hit when you swing.
Is it foolish to vote out your best friend?
Yeah, that's a question. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I think it's a good idea because you don't want to make it to the final three and be sitting next to someone whom you voted with every single time.
Right.
Then you're splitting your votes basically at the final jury. And I feel like, where are we at now? So right now we have 7 players in the game, and after this vote we end up with 6. I think it's about the right time. Maybe the next vote.
Yes. To get rid of your number 2,
Yeah.
your buddy, your best friend.
Well, Rachel, I remember what you just said in past, maybe just a couple seasons ago, when people took their friends, like you said, then they're arguing who made that move.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, I think maybe it was an American Survivor, but I just remember people saying, oh, no, that was my move. Oh, that was my move. So you're right about that.
Yeah, you can't take your allies to the final 3. You have to take people that played a different game than you.
Yeah.
So you can stand out. That's my opinion, at least. So we'll see what Kitty and Caroline do moving forward. So it looks like it's really going to come down to Caroline's decision, which is crazy. That's the second episode in a row that she's been in the power seat. So congratulations, Caroline. She's playing a quiet game, but she's definitely having an impact on the game, despite Alex's accusations of otherwise.
And then we are at tribal, right?
Yes.
And Caroline says that Alex made all of them reassess what they need to do.
So we can really tell that he left a lasting earthquake when he left.
They're still reeling for what he said. That's what I remember.
Oh, yeah. It was interesting because Alex obviously loved it. That Jonathan's talking about what did he say, an earthquake or something like that, a disaster or tornado. And he did what he said he's going to do.
And it certainly is putting Kirby in an uncomfortable situation.
Oh, yes.
She says that basically she's going to win every challenge moving forward, and that's her strategy of how to stay in the game. So we'll see if she's able to do it. But she definitely is feeling the heat after last night.
And then Ree brings up that she thinks that she has a target on her back. She says that to the group. And then talks about people slipping through the cracks.
Right. And Mark said there are a few package deals up here and that nobody's sliding in because everyone's doing a good job. He believes everyone there is doing a good job. So do not dismiss anybody.
He also brings up that Rihanna's really good at challenges, but that's not going to win you the title of sole survivor. You have to be good at challenges and you have to make some strategic moves. So you have to be a package deal. You have to have the strategy and the physical threat. So he was kind of saying, Rihanna's not really the best player. And so then Rihanna kind of said, well, it'll be interesting to see where you vote tonight.
Yeah.
Kind of saying, if you think someone's better, vote for them. And then while all this is happening, Kirby's checking in with Kitty and Caroline, saying, we're all good. Then she leans over to Ferris and says, everyone's voting for Mark. So Kirby's really getting paranoid, and it's becoming quite apparent at this tribal council.
And then Kirby says something about, I want to be with a worthy competitor at the very end. And Ferris says, well, maybe that's what the jury does want to see. Someone take a good player. So He's right. He's trying to tell the jury also, hey, if someone brings a good player, wants to compete what they think is the best players, then the jury will like that decision.
So hopefully that's what happens moving forward. So then we go up to vote. We're worried that Brianna might be going home, but what if Mark goes home? We don't really know. We're on the edge of our seat. And the votes are read, and it turns out we have 2 votes for Mark, and the rest are for Rihanna. So Kirby and Rihanna voted for Mark, and everyone else sent Rihanna to the jury.
So that was very interesting. So Kitty and Caroline did do that. I really thought Caroline was going to vote for Mark. What did you guys think?
I thought so, yes.
Yeah.
They
So
tricked us.
surprising.
Yeah, so now Kirby is totally on the outs. She's the only one left who voted the wrong way.
So that will be interesting. Yes. Now, there's another person named Sophia who listens to this podcast, and she was very upset that Rihanna was voted out.
Right.
Fan of the pod was not happy.
No, she was not. So it's interesting how we all have our favorite our teammates.
Yeah, so it's very interesting to see how Kirby will handle this moving forward. In the previews for next episode, it looked like everyone was coming up to her and apologizing, and I wonder if she'll accept it or if she'll kind of get a little bit of revenge.
And we'll see what happens in the immunity challenge. That'll be the exciting part.
Right. And if she was paranoid this episode, she has to be really paranoid this next day. I mean, yeah, It has to be sad. Plus, it's also very sad. So she's going to be down. And
happens so often in Survivor that you think that there's no chance that person's not going to get voted off the next episode. And then somebody else goes off the rails and gives everybody a reason why.
That's true.
To vote for somebody you weren't even thinking about. So something could come up like that. Somebody says something offensive and then they decide to vote them off or something.
Right. And Matt, you had brought up how Kirby's a coach. Also as a coach, you always are trying to think of how can I get to the end game? And she doesn't just think linear.
Right.
She would have all kinds of different paths to get to the end. So I'm sure being a coach would also help her with her gameplay.
She's not thinking about the next goal. She's thinking about the final score.
Right, and how to get there, and open to other plans.
Yeah.
So, woohoo! Another exciting show. Unbelievable again.
Yeah, we're hoping that Kirby's able to make it to the final 3, especially with Ferris and maybe even Caroline.
That would be great.
So we will be excited to see what happens next. We're uploading polls on Instagram at ATA Survivor to get previews of what everyone else is thinking about this episode. And you can also follow us on TikTok at ATA Survivor and send us an email at ataustraliansurvivor@gmail.com. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye!